Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 252.
252.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. There are several new offers for Walt Disney World right now. Check out the MEI Travel website for that. Like one of the offers includes 20% off Fun in the Sun room only for stays on a lot of days between February 18th and June 10th. And there's also a package offer and one other offer as well. So check them out, and they can give you quotes on any or all of those several offers for this, winter and spring.
Yes.
And heading towards summer.
Well, speaking of winter, Fun in the Sun sounds very good.
It does.
Considering it's been in
cold.
the 30s, below freezing for 2 days here in Florida.
It is. This is a cold time. This is one of our coldest years in a while, I think, or, as far as a cold snap.
And speaking of cold, you are just getting over a little cold.
Yes, and apparently my voice sounds like it, which I didn't even realize
Not too
until
bad.
now.
Not too bad. So anyway, we're going to start off the show at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
So it was like November 1st when we last were at the studios for daytime, which I hadn't even realized. And at that time, I don't think Sorcerer Mickey had all his flourishes here, which I don't remember ever seeing before. And I just thought that was really nice with all the decorations there.
Oh, he looks great. Gets us in the mood for the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival coming up very soon. Now we're taking a look at the boats to kind of set up what we're really looking at, this construction here. And what do you think that might be?
Well, we already know what it is. It's a Disney Skyliner, which will be coming. I have no idea what year. I don't think they've announced any dates or anything on it yet, but this will be like a skyway that links not only Disney's Hollywood Studios to Epcot International Gateway. We've got Art of Animation, Pop Century, Caribbean Beach, and then we also have the upcoming Riviera Resort. I think that's how I say it.
So here we go. We're going to look at some concept art that is new to me. Some of it's new to me anyway, of the Disney Skyliner. And I actually really love skyways. I remember Disneyland used to have a skyway that went right through the Matterhorn, and I would always enjoy that. So this looks like it'll be a fun way of transportation to me.
Well, also, Walt Disney World had the skyway for many, many years until I think the late 90s or so.
Yeah, with a turn. Remember, it would actually turn and go a different direction in the middle of the speedway.
It's been almost 20 years since that closed, which is hard for me to believe. So, but anyway, some of these will have Disney characters incorporated into the design. I have no idea if this is going to cost anything. The design of the Disney Skyliner station at the International Gateway will be inspired by the parks nearby, the European pavilions. And here it's more of a... it will fit into like the main entrance.
Right, and you can see where it is. I mean, right where we were showing there, that is right by the buses and also right across the way from the boats. And you can see there is the layout of all the different routes. And I wonder if you'll have to transfer or if they'll have turns that you can just, like if you wanted to go from Hollywood Studios to Epcot, if you could just stay on.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, if you're going to need to transfer or what.
It looks like you would have to at certain points, So here, this is very nice. You have the hitchhiking ghosts.
Yes.
I bet it would be very popular if people want a certain cart, assuming that this stuff is really in the carts.
Well, supposedly it's going to look like on some of these that maybe you're sitting next to the characters, like probably to somebody outside is what it sounded like from what I have heard. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a little ways away. Nothing's built too much or anything yet. So it'll be really interesting. And I'm actually looking forward to these now. I probably will prefer the monorail, but it'll be fun to have a different type of, we like the Skyway, and here we're getting a Skyway again.
Well, for us, it'll be great for pictures. We'll have all kinds. We will probably ride this thing more than any other transportation for quite a while.
You're going to see like World Showcase, I guess, in a new way that you normally cannot see.
Yes, the backside of Eiffel Tower, construction of the Ratatouille ride.
Oh, that's great.
We'll be going back and forth. We will never do anything more than ride this thing. The new hotel going up. Oh boy, oh boy. Anyway, let's go into the park and start this festivities at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
And I don't even know if today it's still Christmas. It could still be. It's only like the 6th. But here is the March of the First Order, and you have Captain Phasma leading it. It's very interesting with all the Christmas decorations and stormtroopers.
Right. We just happened to catch that on our way in, and it's apropos because really we're going to be talking a lot about Star Wars and Galaxy's Edge.
Or at least some, because they have merchandise out now for it. Here is Tatooine Traders. Is that how you say it?
I think so, yes.
And it's grown a forest since the last time we've been there, so that you can't look toward the Star Wars construction anymore.
Well, let's take a look at some of this Galaxy's Edge merchandise. Apparently, all of this debuted at the special Star Wars event they had recently.
And that was a Star Wars Galactic Nights. We did not go.
We have been to the first one,
We did, and we did the Star Wars Rock and Roller Coaster. It was really fun.
Which was really fun, and that made a return. But they had special merchandise for Galactic Nights. Almost all of it sold out that night. A few little trinkets remains, but this stuff will be for sale for the foreseeable future. It's not, limited or anything. You'll be able to buy the preview Galaxy's Edge stuff for a while.
Well, we were told the Han Solo, the Solo shirt was actually right now is doing better, probably because a lot of guests don't know what Galaxy's Edge is yet. Galaxy's Edge.
I like this. This is the kid's hat and the kid's shirt, and it looks like Rex is on
there.
Rex.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that, but it does not. None of it fits. It's kids.
That's a youth one. And they also have like a lanyard and pin. There's a number of different shirts. You can see the lithograph. There were some pins that will probably, I'm going to assume, show later.
You know me very well. Yes, we will be seeing that at the outdoor kiosk. But yes, lots and lots of merchandise. And you had mentioned the Solo shirt a second ago. There it is, the #1 seller, we were told.
That's what, as far as this area. I just want to mention, though, that obviously, is it Tatooine Traders?
Tatooine, you got it.
Gets very busy, really super busy, and the outdoor cart was not so busy.
Yes, our recommendation is go to the outdoor cart, no lines. It's a little chilly out there. But,
right now, yeah. I mean, there's less items, but still quite a bit. And here we are at Grand Avenue. This has I don't want to say reopened. It is finished opening.
It expanded.
Yes, Grand Avenue is now fully open and has been probably for a couple weeks or less. And here is the outdoor
gate. Let's call it the gate to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And there is a nice, unsullied by us view of the nice backdrop, which has really become a photo pass. I know
place. It's a total photo pass location now, which is actually pretty cool. Now everybody's got a new wall to be photographed at.
And you can't get too close, but there's a rope there, but we were able to walk up and kind of show some of the detail of this giant painting. It's really beautiful, even in person as well.
And the land is scheduled to open sometime in 2019. We actually have Toy Story Land opening this year, so that's taking precedence over this. And they're going to have 2 main attractions in Star Wars Land.
And look at these
Galaxy's
two,
Edge.
Giving the Force, dressed for the Arctic,
I know, look at me, I'm
like weather.
I don't like really being told to do things.
That was David, our photographer, a good friend, by the way.
Yes, we knew the photographer, but he's like, do the Force. I'm like, ugh.
And that gate looks like it might lead over to the Toy Story Land area, but we don't know that for sure. But this is new to us. We have not seen this in person yet, the music store.
Well, and this is really just a facade, just as New York Street was, but now it's like a Los Angeles street. Mm-hmm. They didn't have any Christmas lights this year, which I was kind of hoping for.
They should have a hidden cat.
Yeah.
A hidden cat in one of those windows.
All kinds of decorations, but this is themed to a music shop. And there's supposed to be music coming out of a window above. I don't know if it was or not.
You know, I don't recall hearing any music, but these instruments here really remind me of a former occupant of the area, Mulch, Sweat, and Shears, which, I really loved.
Mm-hmm. We really enjoyed seeing them, occasionally on the streets of New York there.
So who knows if it was a tribute on purpose, but to me, that's what it's going to mean for me.
And I hadn't even thought of that. So here is the Star Wars, a little Star Wars card. I mentioned that it's a little less busy here. You've also got the BB-8 running around.
A big size BB-8 too, which was quite impressive, unlike our little Sphero BB-8, who's more of a baseball size. I like them both. Here are special limited edition pins for Galaxy's Edge.
And these were available, I guess, at Galactic Nights as well, but still are around.
Plenty left, and those are pass holder versions up ahead. So they said they had plenty of them still available.
And I mentioned Galaxy's Edge is due to open in 2019. We see the Miss Piggy fountain here, which is back. I think we're still missing Fozzie.
Well, some of the these little figures here, they used to move. They used to move around and do animations and all, and it's more of a static display now.
Miss Piggy used to move too.
Right, all of it moved. So I don't know if it will move again in the future. My guess is this is as done as it's going to get, but we will see about that.
But it's nice. You know what? It's nice to see it back as a fountain and not as a planter.
Right, I absolutely agree. A lot of fountains go the way of planters, so at least we still have water here.
And this is now really, they call this Grand Park. It was the Muppets Courtyard for a very, very brief period of time. I don't know if we're going to keep the Muppet show for very long or not. You know, it's now like the Grand Arts Theater.
Well, this was another change. Now they're calling it featuring Muppets and Nightmare Before Christmas Studio One shop.
Right. This is the Stage One store.
Stage One. I'm sorry.
Right.
Stage One.
But really the main reason we're talking about is because they were doing some kind of work inside. And the area that used to have the kids stuff right now is cordoned off. But also because it used to be really mostly a Muppet store then with kids stuff. And now it's, well, you can see it really
cuts the store
here.
in half, I would say. So it's interesting. I wonder if they're just doing some kind of renovation in there, or perhaps something all new will go into that space. I guess time will tell.
I looked online and I didn't see anything about it. They also have some of the cells, the animated cells and such here, and just a limited amount of Muppet merchandise. I think they used to have a little more than what they have now. But still some. I'm glad they still have some.
Yeah, they have the Kermit hats. And a cold day like this, great time for a Kermit hat.
You don't see them as often as you used to. I mean, they used to be everywhere on the park.
So there's one more look at Grand Avenue. Still looks a little bit like New York Street to me. And here's some actual construction of the tip-top mountainous area from Galaxy's Edge.
It's a lot harder to see it now than it used to be because of the forest Tatooine traders.
Yes. Well, I've relocated now, and we are here on Pixar Avenue, and you can sort of see the buildings from here.
But you can also see that there is, almost a little wall here, so you can't see it as well as, we used to be able to. But that's okay. I think they just want this to be more of a surprise.
Well, the best place to see it is this angle, and that's from driving in. So if you can drive and have a helper like me take pictures, you will get a view like that.
A helper?
Yes.
I'm not a helper.
You drove, and I took the picture.
Oh.
And, of course, the big sign for Galaxy's Edge. So in other exciting news, we headed out in front of the Disney's Hollywood Studios Arch by the Brown Derby, and here is the popcorn cart. We were looking for the popcorn cart because there's an all-new popcorn bucket for sale.
And I believe Disneyland had it first. It's at Souvenir Bucket, $25. It is barely it doesn't look like a bucket.
Well,
it's just like a big toy.
You don't even put the popcorn in it. The popcorn box goes in it. So very interesting.
And this came out here, I think, with Galactic Nights, but you can get it. And I don't know how popular it is. Like, I don't know if you can hang it around your neck very easily.
It looks like it. There's a strap. You can have a couple.
Like, soon you'll be able to get, like, a car. I mean, it's amazing, though. And then if you want a Rice Krispie treat, you can actually eat a pork.
You can eat a pork, unlike Chewy.
So that is the first time we've seen that.
And this is your big deal of the day here?
Right. The Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam merchandise, all of it was discounted. I don't know how long, but the Tervis mug, which I really like, it was $10, and then we got 20% off that. So for $8, I got to take home a nice Tervis mug with lid. But
the most exciting news of the day, Starbucks right here now has one of our favorite items, the carrot cake cookie. Yes, like now I can get as long as it stays here, I can get Starbucks points on a carrot cake cookie, which is everything. That is absolutely spectacular. It doesn't get much better than that. That's how we go gold. Oh, you mean the gold card? Yes, well, stay gold. Stay gold, yes. And I should mention that Napoleon up there, also very good. Yeah, we've had that once. That was very nice. So now we're going to go from Disney's Hollywood Studios all the way across the ocean to Disneyland Paris and our good friend Curious Axel to tell us all about New Year's Eve at Disneyland Paris. And I had really wanted to be there for this, and I haven't seen this segment yet, so I'm actually really looking forward to it. A very good evening, a very good New Year's evening, because it's New Year's Eve and we're celebrating in Disneyland Paris. I'm going to take you along with me, of course, for this last day of the year and show you what Disneyland Paris has to offer on this first ever New Year's Eve event. So let's go check it out.
Thank you. Big hug.
Have a great 2018. So guys, this was it. This was 2017. This was the New Year's Eve party here in Disneyland Paris. I hope you guys have a look here what this night had to offer. I hope to see you all back in the new year, and I'm wishing you all the very best for 2018 and hope to see you real soon, and maybe in another Disney park. Who knows? See you there. Bye.
Yeah, I wonder where he's going to be at some point.
I bet you it'll be warm. Yeah. And shorts will be involved.
You know what? It's not warm now, and sometimes it's not warm in other parks either, so we'll see what happens.
So what did you think of the segment?
No, I thought it was great. I think it would have been a really nice place to be for New Year's Eve and for Christmas, but maybe next year.
I agree. I would love to be there for New Year's Eve and for the holidays, the Christmas parade, all of it. So I know we can't do, as you always say, can't do it all, but can't help but wanting to.
I know, sometimes. I want to go 3 times this year.
So anyway, we're now going from Paris, France, over to Washington, D.C. We're at the Gaylord National Resort.
Right, this is at National Harbor, which is someplace we had not been till last year, and we had walked around the resort last year. And this was the first time we've seen ice here. And they also have, for the first year ever, a gingerbread display. And instead of just doing like a White House, they put 300 hours into this and made like a massive Washington, D.C. display that included like the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, the White House, the National Monument, or Washington Monument, and a bunch of other places, plus like row houses. So they really just put so much effort into it. I have no idea how much gingerbread is in here. I have no idea how much chocolate.
There's the Lincoln Memorial
Yes.
right now. It is really spectacular. And I see other assorted candies mixed in there. You know, we go to D.C., the D.C. area every year for family reasons. So we've seen a lot of this stuff in real life. So it's extra cool to see it in gingerbread form.
Well, you mean like we've seen the White House, we've seen
All these
the
places,
Washington,
yes.
right? So I just thought this was one of the most incredible gingerbread displays I've ever seen. And the fact that it's their first year doing it, I just thought that was, they really went all out.
So let's start off with Rudolph's Holly Jolly Breakfast. We went in with no reservation and managed to squeak in somehow.
Well, we made a reservation, but like an hour before the reservation.
Right, we tried to walk up and they had no room for any walk-ups, but we decided not to give up. We tried it online and we got in. And here is Bumble. Bumble himself. Bumble's do bounce, and he's bouncing in to the character breakfast, and I see a familiar looking
Yes.
person there.
And I just want to say we paid for our own breakfast, but they did give us tickets to ice, so we did pay our own way part of this time.
So here we go, character breakfast. The very first stop is you're going to meet Bumble and get a picture with Bumble. The only thing is you're not able to take a picture with your own camera. They want you to purchase this professional photo opportunity
For
here.
$26.50 or so, but
Right.
you can't take it with your own camera, which I am against that. So that would be my one negative experience with the breakfast. Otherwise, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
And it was very nicely themed, too. You could see you have Sam Snowman, you have all these banners there. You just saw on
The
your table
placemat.
the placemat. Yeah, so it sets the mood very nicely for the experience. And here you're going to take a quick look at some of the food.
So the food here, I mean, it's very basic. They do have the omelets where they make your own omelet.
Right.
It isn't as fancy as, let's say, Gaylord Palms, or I would put it more on the par of like a Chef Mickey's or something like that.
I would put it on par with the Polynesian. There he is. See, I kept sneaking in ways. I offered Bumble some food, and he said he was hungry. At least I think he mentioned that somehow.
I think it's a little bit better than I think it's better than the Polynesian in that there's more offerings. You have pastries and then the bacon and eggs and such.
Right,
but also
strictly
the
on a
omelet.
food level, I
Right.
would say it
A little
trumps
bit better.
the Poly. And here is Rudolph himself coming around to meet and greet us and the rest of the diners.
Yes, which, I mean, at this point, we're towards the end of the time. That's what we had made our reservation for the end of the, when not so many people were here.
But that was great, actually,
was
having
good.
an empty area. They were around
All
the
the
time. And we have Clarice doing some dance moves, teaching this young diner here how to dance. So I thought it was quite fun. And these elves were...
They sing.
They were wonderful. They were a lot of fun.
So, yeah, I mean, this if you like characters, and I know a lot of our viewers do, and we enjoy seeing them as well, we had a really fun time with that. And there is your omelet.
That's what an omelet with everything looks like. So it is a huge, monumental omelet, and I was quite full. I did not finish that. And here they are again, Rudolph and Clarice.
If they're here next year and you get a chance to head over to Gaylord National, definitely towards the end of the meal, I thought was the better time to be here. It wasn't as packed. It was so packed earlier, busy.
And you don't get this kind of entertainment normally.
Because nobody's here.
Right,
except
nobody's
like a
here, so
handful
they
of
are
diners
just
by then.
having so much fun. Rudolph is singing along to the song in the background. It was spectacular.
Yeah, we had a good time with this one. So once the Bumble part was over, we really enjoyed our hour or so here.
Absolutely. And I think we have a couple pictures coming up of of the experience. And here is a picture of, I think it's me and Rudolph here. And Rudolph will light off his nose if you stand around long enough.
So I thought that was really fun. And then, of course, Clarice came around. What? I've got the picture with my eyes closed.
But you were so happy. You were the big smile
of
Clarice. And then one last picture of the two of us. So anyway, now we're going to move on. Well, I think we're going to say goodbye to Clarice and Rudolph as they head out. You know, we closed down the restaurant, actually.
Because we were in there in the last hour or so.
Adults with no kids, by the way.
Right. And we're not the only ones without kids, you know, there. But then we went into ice.
Yes.
And this is the first time we've seen Rudolph in ice, which was fantastic.
And you enter ice. You actually go outside. Unlike the Gaylord Palms, you're going out into the elements to go in the ice tent.
And it was probably like 30 degrees or something that day. And so then you're walking into the
9 degrees of goodness. And I was in here over an hour.
Hour and a half. An hour and a half.
At one point, without any break at all. So I enjoyed this so much. I did not feel the cold. I would say this might be my very favorite theme ever of an ice.
And we really enjoyed, I want to say I enjoyed Christmas Around the World and Frosty and Charlie Brown.
Oh, all awesome. All awesome.
But this one really was, you know, when you're taking a story from your childhood, just like Frosty the Snowman.
And Charlie Brown.
It really just is everything. You know, I said that about something else earlier, but it was terrific. And I think this may have been my favorite. Certainly up there with Frosty. Frosty was probably my favorite before this.
Yeah, those are our top, at least my top three would be Rudolph here and Frosty, and my third favorite probably last year's Charlie Brown at Gaylord Palms.
And just like Gaylord Palms and the other Gaylord hotels, you have 35 artisans who come from Harbin, China, and this is 2 million pounds of ice. This is closed now. Like, they closed it on January 1st.
So sad.
So sad. And the thing is, it's like, I don't want to say a museum, almost like a museum or just of sculptures that you can only see for a little while, and then they're gone. Like, they're going to melt away, and
look at the tremendous details. You have Bumble's teeth, you know, big, sharp teeth, and actually, this is huge. A lot of this stuff is giant in person, and I was told they expanded this year's ice. They took away the Frostbite factory so there'd be more room to tell the story. And here we are at the Island of Misfit Toys, and here is one of my favorite characters of all, King Moonracer. King Moonracer! Who would have thought you would see him in ice ever in your lifetime?
I know. I was, you know, we didn't go to Paris, but we went to Washington, D.C. to see my family. And this was terrific that we got to see this in the last few days that they had it, because it just, you know, King Moonracer.
And here we go. Here is me going down the slide. I had some actual speed.
You actually moved a lot on this. So a lot of times over here,
I have
we
a very
don't have
slow.
that, yeah.
But see, we usually go very early in the run, probably before the slide is fully, you know.
Frozen? I don't know.
Well, it's worked in, let's say.
Oh, I don't know.
So anyway, here are some of the Misfit toys. Charlie in the box there.
And it takes them several weeks. They have like 36 truckloads of ice that come in over 3 weeks. And I guess during that time they're working on it. But it takes at least about a month to get this set up. And we've seen the artisans in action, you know, be previewing, not here, but at Gaylord Palms. And just the way they work is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I got very lucky. I went through, you know, obviously I was there for quite a while, and it was
an hour and a half.
It was packed with people.
It was busy.
But I was able to kind of just wait these rooms out for there to be a break without a big crowd. And I was able to get shots like you just saw there of an empty room. And there was Yukon Cornelius way up there. So many great, just amazing characters to see.
When I watched this video, I was like, it looks like nobody's there, but it was really busy that day. But they do it in waves. So,
right.
You know, a wave will come through and the room will be packed. And then for a few seconds, you may have nobody.
Patience is the key. And if you just wait correct, you know, the right time, you're going to get empty rooms.
Except the slide room.
For a very short, yeah, the slide room, you will never have an empty room.
And I think with the nativity room, it's a little harder too, but especially the slide room, because everybody wants to go on the slides.
I did manage to get the nativity, and it's very similar to the nativity we have here at the Gaylord Palms. So it was just amazing. I loved it.
And that's the crystal clear ice, which is the hardest ice to make, which is amazing to me. You wouldn't think that. So then after that, we headed to the Capitol Wheel. They very nicely had given us a couple of tickets to ride. And this is a wheel. It's sort of like going on the Orlando Eye, the London Eye, any other observation wheel. The only difference is here you're seeing a little bit of Washington, D.C., but you're also seeing some of National Harbor, and a little bit of the rest of the area as well.
So of the three eyes, or the three wheels that you just mentioned, the London Eye, the Orlando Eye, and this what we're at right now, I actually preferred this size capsule over the other two.
I like this also because we had our own private ride. There was only 2 of us in there. With the other wheels, the capsules are much bigger, so you end up with a lot of guests in
Especially the London Eye. I mean, that's those are huge capsules.
Right, you might have like 20 guests in there with you.
And here you have climate controlled, everybody can sit. It's very relaxing, especially on a cold day. We were quite happy to be going into the capsule. It was freezing out,
and
literally.
This goes about 180 feet tall, and there's 42 gondolas of up to 8 people each. I actually don't know if they will normally sit you with other guests if it's busy.
Right, I don't know the answer either.
This gets great reviews online, and we really enjoyed it. You don't see like all of Washington, D.C. You're 3 or 4 miles away, I guess, from actually, you're looking over the Potomac.
Well, let's see. Let's take a look at what you are going to see. Here's a look out as we're slowly loading, working our way up. This is before the rotations, and you can see off in the distance just how big the Gaylord National Resort is.
Not too much of the distance. It's a 5-minute walk, but
but it's off in the distance,
a little bit
in the shot anyway.
And I'm sure during the summer you're probably going to see a lot of boats out. And like we saw one sightseeing type boat, and I'm sure there's plenty of others, I would guess, during the spring and summer months.
And there's where ice is. See that little on the right hand side, the tent that was where we just were for ice.
And this actually did a lot of rotations. They said it was going to be like, I think they said an 8-minute ride. So it actually felt like a lot of times.
It was a lot longer than 8 minutes. Maybe just when after it got loaded and we started doing the rotations, it was just enough. It made you not need to continue, but glad that you got as many as you did. Like, at least for me, it was a perfect amount.
There's the Washington Monument. It's actually supposed to be 12 to 15 minutes per ride, but about 8 minutes. Remember?
Continuous.
Yes. And it felt like a lot. So it was really, it's like $15 to ride. So to me, it felt like if I had ridden it, and if we had paid this time, I would have felt like I got a lot of ride for the money. And it was really just a nice view. And again, I think even during the summer months and during cherry blossom month and other times it will be even nicer. Well,
we'll just have to go back and venture back to this place, maybe in June when we're in the D.C. area.
Right. I mean, or if we're there another time. But usually, I think around the holidays, it's very possible we'll be there again at this time frame.
And you can see in the distance there is a new casino that not that long ago
about a year ago, the MGM opened, and so that's something new. I don't know if that's maybe the first casino for Maryland or not, but National Harbor, this Disney almost...
Right, I was going to say, I was just about to get into the Disney history. This was going to be, this land, a lot of it was going to be purchased by Disney for a future development, they said.
But instead we have, I think Gaylord National may have already been there by then, but maybe that's where
I think where the casino ended up is where Disney would have been.
But this is actually a very growing area and very nice with a lot of restaurants, some nice shops, and I would like to spend a little more time there, actually.
Well, speaking of spending more time at places, here is the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C.
Well, the Willard Intercontinental, I had seen online where they had really nice Christmas decorations, so I was like, well, I want to come. Can we take a little video?
You heard right, by the way. It was Grand Floridian beautiful in there.
Well, right here is Peacock Alley, and they do tea service there on weekends, but they had a gingerbread display. Very
detailed of Mount Vernon, which we had been to a few years ago.
Right, and this one also was 300 hours, and there's 250 pounds, and then like 100 pounds of salt dough, 50 pounds of powdered sugar, and it's not as big as like the Gaylord National, but it's actually a very nice gingerbread display.
Well, again, as I said, highly detailed. Just look at the smoke coming out of the smokestacks, and you can see they have the characters back there. Looks like George and Martha Washington, probably, if you use your imagination, and you can even see the forest in the back. It was just very nicely done and a perfect fit for where it actually was.
Right, the Peacock Alley. And I just want to mention while we're looking at it about the Willard, this has been here for like 200 years. It was rebuilt in, I believe, 1908. And so it's been standing since 1908. It was closed down for maybe 20 years. And then in 1986, they reopened it. So we have overlooked it so many times from the National Press Club when dining there. And a friend of mine stayed here a number of years ago, and she really loved it. And I got to see the rooms that she was in, and it was just very nice. And the location is perfect because you're so close to Metro Center and the White House.
And speaking of location, it's located right across the street from the National Press Club, a place that we always enjoy. And here we are now just checking in to the, what's the name of the place we go to?
Oh, the Reliable Source.
Reliable Source. I should have remembered that.
My dad's a member here, but I think they have one restaurant that's actually open to the public as well. So if you're over at the Willard, you could walk across, and I believe they have maybe lunch or dinner
and
available.
there's our favorite seat there. Looking out the window, you could see the Washington Monument from there. It's
and the Willard.
And the Willard, a beautiful view of the Willard. And here is a very historic piano.
Right, that's Harry Truman, I believe, played the piano, and they have pictures of him. And this is sort of in the back of the restaurant, so I don't always see it every time I'm here. But there he is, and that is that Lana Turner? Or
I think it is. I
so,
think it is.
yeah.
You have a good memory. I always love the cartoons too. They change them. These are even more modern. I have not seen those in our visits. And we got to see snow. And isn't it interesting how it snowed in the form of Mickey on the car there?
And I was a little chilly, but it was really nice to see just enough snow where it's not like a blizzard. It covered the ground, but not in, you could go out and you could walk in it, and you weren't sliding around. So it was really nice to see it again. And
we appreciate everybody hanging in there with us for our first show of 2018.
Yes, and thanks to MEI Travel and Mousefan Travel, we look forward to spending all of 2018 again with them. And definitely please check them out on their website. They have all those Walt Disney World specials that they can check for you. And right now with the Epcot Festival of the Arts and the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival coming up, one is coming up. The Festival of the Arts is next week.
Right.
And then the next month starts the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. So this is really a good time to start thinking about plans for Walt Disney World especially.
Well, I want to sign up for the world tour.
You mean where Becky, where
right.
From MEI Travel went to all of the different Disney parks in one year, plus other places, but she saw all the castles.
I would love to see all the castles. It doesn't even have to be all in one year. Just in one lifetime, I will be happy with that.
But we keep going back to Paris, and I'm
happy
with that too. I'm looking forward to seeing their castle again this year.
Anyway, that is another show. We're going to have another week of goodness coming up. We're going to head to Miami for a couple of events. We're going to go to the historic Mai Kai Tiki Bar. Very exciting. Going to Carnival. We're going to try some beer, some brand new beer that's going to be on the Carnival Horizon ship. And also, I think there's this little festival at Epcot starting. We'll probably be there too.
Festival of the Arts is starting next Friday. Plus, I'm hoping to do a photo walk of the boardwalk again this coming week, so we could probably talk a little about that if I make it out there.
So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!